If you're a leader who only communicates when something goes wrong, you're not building trust, you are building suspicion. Let's take a closer look at that in this video. In crisis situations, many leaders go hard with their communication and then they disappear again. There's just silence, there's nothing. Today, your rumour mill is turbocharged. It's on steroids. So of course people fill that silence with their own speculation. There are no shortage of sources of information. It's just that most of them are untrue or highly exaggerated. We've seen many examples in the last 12 months of big brands that have resorted to silence when something has gone badly wrong and it's backfired. Whether you realize it or not, silence is communicating. It suggests indifference or incompetence, or maybe even a cover-up, or perhaps a combination of all three. None of it positive. The thing is, trust is built through rhythm. It's not through suddenly communicating when something out of the ordinary happens. My advice to you is, even when it feels like you have nothing to say to your teams, to your customers, even the whole community, communicate with them anyway. 3 things for you to consider. Firstly, have predictable touch points. If you're predictable and consistent in the way you communicate, you're building trust because people love certainty. They need to feel assured that you're there as a trusted, credible voice. So think about what those touch points might look like for you with the various people who matter most to your business or organization. In some cases, that will be your staff, your team members. For others, it will be external people or groups who can really have an impact on or be impacted by what you do. It might even be the whole public. Find ways to keep those relationships going, because make no mistake, we are talking about relationships here. The deeper those bonds, the more people will build trust with you. It doesn't mean that they'll automatically forgive you if something goes wrong, especially if you've dropped the ball and your business has caused a problem, but it will give you a buffer to some extent. You will have established some goodwill in that relationship. That's not going to happen if you only appear when something goes pear-shaped. Second tip for you on this is have clear themes around your communication. Put simply, be clear on what you stand for and communicate about it consistently. So think about what are the key messages that you need to convey to the people who matter most to your business and organization, and make sure you're consistent with those. Again, find those regular channels where you can be repeating and building on those consistent messages. So now there's a sense of clarity about people's expectations about you. That's going to go a long way to building those trusted, credible relationships that we're talking about. And thirdly, consider having a visible presence. There are many examples of leaders who communicate from a distance or through their communication team. People actually never see them in person. Are they real or are they a ghost? You don't want to be that leader. Be visible, be out there. Now, inside your organization, that might be relatively simple. That might be actually getting out and about so people can speak to you face to face. If we're talking about external audiences and stakeholders, well, same applies. Think of ways that you can get out and mix with people, where you can eyeball them and have proper, honest, open conversations. That, in the long run, is going to mean more than lots and lots of corporate communication from a faceless source that really doesn't build that connection that people need to see. So have a visible presence. And if your audience, again, is large scale, the whole public, find ways to be visible. Video is a great medium to do that. But getting out and about, what events can you go to? Who can you mix with to make sure that people feel that they have access to you? So that if something is confusing, that they have questions about, they can go straight to the source. and you can clear things up very simply. This isn't rocket science, but we've become so reliant, haven't we, on kind of mass communication channels and using technology to replace human connection that we've lost our way a little bit. And then we wonder why we feel disconnected and people don't trust us or our brand. Now, to a leader, it mightn't feel very safe to be out there communicating more than you currently do. But you are, in fact, creating a sense of safety, creating a sense of certainty. Now, didn't we see that during the pandemic, where we saw leaders that we'd barely noticed any other time, all of a sudden they were out there every day giving updates. And wouldn't you agree, it was that consistent cadence of communication. It was their visible presence. Even some of those public health officers became household names. I'm sure that's not what they were seeking to do, but that was the reality, because we recognised that they were going to be there on our screen every day at a certain time, sometimes a couple of times a day, giving us updates at a time of incredible uncertainty and pressure. Now, I'm not suggesting you go to that extreme, but certainly think about what are those regular touch points, what are those ways that I can be seen so I'm predictable, so I'm visible, creating that sense of safety. When people feel safe, they're much more likely to trust and believe us. Again, if we're only a flash in the pan, appearing when something's gone wrong, that's going to create more uncertainty and suspicion, especially if we disappear as quickly as we started. We actually saw this with Optus last year, with the situation when they had that terrible problem with the O connections. And the CEO started out giving regular media updates, and it only lasted a day or so, and then it stopped again. Now, I'm sure that there were things going on behind the scenes that contributed to that, but that really added to the community's negative feelings towards that brand. They communicated, but they didn't do it consistently, so they made an already very bad situation worse. If you're realizing that silence is actually a go-to response for yourself or for your business or organization, reach out to me and let's have a chat. There are some practical things that you can put in place to make sure that rather than retreating into silence and causing suspicion and uncertainty, you can increase trust and credibility and positive influence through the ongoing relationships you create and that thrive through your consistent cadence of communication. Let's have a chat. Love to speak to you. See you next time.